The scene opens with a girl named Cassie running through the woods with a rifle. Before long, she comes to an abandoned gas station and decides to check it out. She ventures inside cautiously and proceeds to gather up whatever she can find. While collecting supplies, she suddenly hears someone calling for help and heads to the back to investigate. As she opens the office door, she sees a wounded man sitting up against the wall with a gun pointed straight at her. She manages to convince the man to lower his weapon and then asks him to show her his other hand. As the man takes his hand out of his jacket, she sees something shiny underneath it and decides to pull the trigger of her rifle. The man's body then goes limp, and she sees that the shiny thing in his hand was only a small crucifix. We then go back in time and see Cassie at a party where she tries to flirt with her crush, Ben Parrish. She later gets home and checks in with her dad before tucking in her brother Sam and singing him to sleep. The next day on the news, the family hears about an alien spaceship that has entered Earth's orbit and is slowly making its way across the globe. When they hear that it's currently in the US over Ohio, they head outside to get a look at it for themselves. Up in the sky, they see the massive spacecraft, and a short time later, people start fleeing the neighborhood. While Cassie is at school the next day, her phone suddenly dies, while at the same time the school building loses power. The students look outside after hearing a commotion and see cars crashing into each other and a plane falling out of the sky. We soon find out it was an electromagnetic pulse, and it came to be known later as the first wave. A short time after that, the second wave then hits, with massive earthquakes breaking out across the globe. The earthquakes then lead to towering tsunamis, burying every coastal city in miles of water. Soon after that, the aliens send the third wave, a modified version of the bird flu that wipes out half the population, including Cassie's mother. Cassie and her family then head to a nearby campsite, meeting up with a large group of local survivors. A few days into their stay, a convoy of military vehicles rolls into their camp, along with several yellow school buses. The leader of the group, Colonel Vosh, tells them they are there to take the children to a secure location and they'll come back for the adults later. Cassie and Sam reluctantly get on the bus, with Cassie getting off at the last minute to grab Sam his bear. The bus then takes off without her, and Cassie is unable to catch it. When she heads back to camp to tell her dad what happened, he motions for her to leave, as things are getting heated with the soldiers. As Cassie looks on in horror, gunfire breaks out inside the building, and she runs away into the woods until the shooting finally stops. She then sees the soldiers leaving the campsite, with nobody else walking out of the building. Cassie then goes inside to look for her father, but unfortunately, he didn't make it. She then grabs a rifle off one of the bodies and heads into the woods alone. We then cut over to Sam arriving at the military base, along with Cassie's crush, Ben. We see Ben getting taken into a room by someone named Resnick, and she tells him about the fourth wave of the alien plan. She says that they are taking over human bodies and shows him what they look like through a special optical visor. He then agrees to join the ranks, and they put a special tracker in his neck so they'll always know he's human. He's then sent to train alongside a fiery girl named Ringer, and soon ends up in charge of a squad that includes Cassie's brother, Sam. We then cut back to Cassie at the gas station, where we saw her at the beginning of the story. After dealing with the man with the crucifix, Cassie finds herself on a freeway full of abandoned cars and dead bodies. While looking for supplies, she sees an alien craft fly overhead and ends up getting shot in the leg while she's distracted. She crawls under a truck for cover before deciding to make a break for it, but ends up falling into the ditch and passing out. Cassie later wakes up in a bedroom and is soon greeted by a young man named Evan. He tells her that he took out the man who shot her, then came down from his vantage point to save her. Cassie decides to trust him for the time being, but after a few days of recovering, she tells him that she's leaving to go get her brother. He tells her that the military base is likely compromised, and he insists on going with her. We next see the two of them making their way through the woods, while Ben and the other kids continue their training at the military base. Ben later gets called in by Colonel Vosh, and Vosh tells him they made a mobile version of the visor that detects the aliens. He then says that he's sending Ben's team on a mission to test the new helmets, set to be leaving the following night. That night, Sam tells Ben that he's scared, and Ben calms him down by singing a song with him. The next night, the group head out on their mission, and they're reminded that the aliens should light up green in their visors. As they fly to their destination, we see that Sam was left back at the base to keep him safe, with Ben having tied him up in the bathroom. They soon get dropped off in the middle of the city and start making their way through the streets on foot. Before long, they encounter some of the alien soldiers, with their new visors making them easy to spot. Unfortunately, someone on the team gets shot, so they create a diversion, then take cover in a building. Once inside, Ringer says that something seems wrong, because why would the aliens use guns when they can create tsunamis? She then tells the group that she's leaving, as she doesn't trust what's going on, and proceeds to cut the tracking device out of her neck. Once she has it out, she suddenly starts to look like an alien to everyone else through their visors. They all then raise their guns at her, freaking out, and she asks them what they are doing. Ben thinks he knows what's happening, so he steps in between them, then proceeds to take his tracker out as well. As soon as he does, he also lights up green, and they all begin to realize they've been tricked. Everyone they've been shooting at have actually been human, and the soldiers at the base are the ones who are the aliens. It turns out they are the fifth wave. Ben then remembers that he left Sam behind, and he tells the others that he's going back to save him. We then cut back to Cassie and Evan as they set up camp near an abandoned car in the woods. They end up getting attacked by two men in the night, and Evan throws the men around like rag dolls. After he takes care of them, Cassie pulls her gun on him, realizing that he's an alien. He tells her that he's not going to hurt her, and even though he's an alien, he's fighting on her side. Cassie says that she still can't trust him and leaves to continue the journey on her own. Fortunately, she soon comes to a road, and a military bus then takes her the rest of the way there. Once at the base, she gets taken to the same room as Ben did and ends up taking out Resnick with an electrical cord. We then cut back to Ben as he talks with Colonel Vosh and tries to sell him the story that the rest of his team was killed. Vosh doesn't believe him and says that they both should just put their cards out on the table. An explosion then rocks the facility, causing the lights to flicker, and Vosh tells one of his men to take Ben out of there. Fortunately, Ben is able to overpower the guard, and he ends up bumping into Cassie while on his way to Sam. The two then team up to find him, but they encounter some guards along the way. The guards seem to have the upper hand at first, but Evan soon appears out of nowhere and quickly takes the two of them down. He tells Cassie that he's the one setting off the explosives, and once all the kids are out of the building, he's going to take the whole place down. They then continue on to find Sam, with Cassie spotting him in line to board the final plane. She quickly gets him out of there and reunites with Ben, with the three of them soon making it outside. As they leave, they see Vosh getting on a helicopter, and they start to run away as the base explodes behind them. As the ground is crumbling beneath their feet, Ringer shows up in a Hummer at the last minute, and they manage to make it out of range of the sinkhole. We next see them back at the campsite with the rest of Ben's squad, with the group smiling and laughing as they look toward the future. Like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. See you next time.